So we had several days of rain, and we didn't really get a lot done. But now that we have a nice sunny day, we've got a lot of little projects that we've got to get caught up on. One of them is to move those panels up onto the roof. Now right now they're fine, but in about an hour or two, all these trees here are going to shade in our panels, and so we want to make sure that our battery for the RV pump that pumps water into the cabin stays charged. So let's get that thing up on the roof. So the next thing that we have to do today is we've got to hang up a clothesline. We've been using a rack that we purchased from the Amish in the cabin for all of our laundry to dry it. And now that it's nice out, what we want to do is get a nice line in. So what I'm thinking of doing is attaching a line from the well shed, and I've got this white birch over here that we're going to run the line to. Before I do that though, I've got to get the roof for our old porch moved, which by the way, a little bit later we are going to be adding, putting this roof back on. But that's a project for another day and we'll get into that. But for right now, we're going to get this moved out of the way, clean out underneath it, and we're going to run a clothesline. Okay, so now to run our clothesline, I am going to use a bowline knot on the hook here, and the knot will actually be through the hook itself. So basically we're going to come down through the hook, we're going to make our P, we're going to bring our line through, underneath, back through the hook, or through the loop. And now to tighten up my bowline, I'm just going to kind of feed the line through a little bit because I don't want a big hoop. And then once I'm there, once I'm where I need to be, I can pull it tight. And now I've got my bowline knot on my hook. So now that we have our bowline knot on the well side, we're going to put a ratcheting knot on the tree. Okay, so for this tree side, what we're going to do is use a midshipman's knot. We'll use this knot, try it out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, then we're going to go to something else. So to tie the midshipman's knot, just going to kind of make your first loop make a second one. You're gonna do it on the inside of the first knot, or the first line. Then you're gonna make one on the outside here as well. Well, I'm sure I haven't explained that very well, but there's plenty of videos out there that explain it. I'm not really good at explaining knots. I'm not quite sure what they're all called. All I know is that they work, and I know how to do them. So in this case, we're going to pull this line as tight as we can, and then the knot here will just kind of grip hold of the, I guess it's called the standing line. So we're going to give it a shot. Okay, so it's pretty tight. Not so sure how well it's going to work, but we'll give it a shot, see what happens. Looks like the knot's holding. So for the last few years, this area over here has really been an important part of our homesteading journey because it was our outdoor shower. But since we've moved into our new cabins and we have a new bathroom and a new shower, this has simply become kind of a dumping ground. So the next step on my chore list for the day is we're going to rip all this down. We're going to move our wood rack over here, get it attached to the cabin here. But before we get there, we got a lot to do. We got to clean all this out, take all this, the old structure down, and then come in here, pour a bunch of gravel, and get some pallets in here, and then move the wood rack. So, all right, let's get to work. So now that we've got all of this cleared out, we've got our gravel pad down. Now it's time to move the lumber rack over here and see if we can load up all of our lumber here. So I had to make a few adjustments to the wood rack, but for the most part, same design. And we also added some screws to it to kind of beef it up and give it a little bit more meat. So now that it's in place, now all we gotta do is just fill it up. All right, well, we are back at it this morning, and we have our lumber rack. It is up. It looks good. I'm very happy with the way that it's come out. Now, the only thing I have to do next is I've got to get that pile of wood over here. So I think I'm going to work on that now. That's going to take me a little bit because I'm going to have to carry it by hand. And yeah. Oh boy, that's going to suck. All right. Well, we definitely moved the pile of wood, and I gotta say, I was a little hesitant to do this project just because I didn't want to, but I'm really glad I did. Let me show you what it ended up looking like. So now I got a place for my pallets and all my lumber. And right now the lumber that's up there is for the, most of the lumber at least, is for the outdoor kitchen, which we're gonna get started here in a few days. And that's getting built and put right here. So I'm really, really happy that I did this project. I think this is definitely the best place for our lumber, at least right now. Obviously, you know, at some point I want to make something a little bit more, even more permanent, but for now, this is gonna work great. Oh, and for rain and for covering it, that blue tarp right there is just gonna simply go over everything. So, all right, on to the next project.